What's up guys, CPModder here, back with another video, and today we're here finally with another DIY project. And today, as you could read by the title, we are building ourselves a DIY teleprompter. Whilst it doesn't necessarily go ahead and sort of, well, do anything with our tech and that kind of stuff, it is really something that's important for making these types of videos. So recently we kicked up the mini review series of, well, mini reviews, basically going ahead and checking out a lot of products, which is really awesome to do. The problem, however, is that I can't exactly remember every single script, which makes it hard to actually go ahead and, well, record the videos, where I actually have a teleprompter style PC down just underneath the lens, but when I do read from it, I do look like this talking down into the actual computer. And honestly, from you guys, you can definitely tell I'm looking down at the PC. What I want to be doing is looking up directly at the camera lens, and that is basically what we're going to be able to do with our teleprompter PC. So the plan is pretty simple. We're going to convert the existing teleprompter laptop into, well, one that we can run our camera off of. Basically, DIY style at that. Now this is going to actually be properly done, unlike all the other previous attempts that I've made, where I made it out of like a motherboard box, the first one, the second one then had a plank of wood, but it was still a motherboard box. Today we're going full proper and actually building it out of wood and metal, so we should theoretically last until we don't need it anymore, which hopefully will be a very, very long time. So with that being said, come along and let's go build some stuff, I guess. Rightio, so I've just pulled the camera off the tripod right here, and you guys can get a look at what's sort of set up now and what we're going to be moving to once we do finish this video. So yes, there's a bit of a mess around here. There's like a camera over there and like notes and other cameras and stuff going on here, but the point is our normal PC, which sits just underneath the camera, you can see the camera would mount here, and then just underneath it we have, well, the PC, which also too doubles as an audio device, because unfortunately our microphone doodad right here, which again doesn't really want to focus, but our microphone over here basically is USB only. We can see right there USB, which means we do need a computer to actually go ahead and well, work with the stuff. And I'll just change the white balance, that looks a lot better, but it is USB only, so we have to kind of work with USB only, which kind of does suck a little bit, and we'll get stuff going on there. But essentially the idea is to mount the teleprompter sort of on here, and then this little nice little quick release plate that I have bought basically can mount onto the teleprompter, which will mount it right here. So teleprompter on the bottom, quick release there, camera slides in, and then we can do it whole stuff like that. The reason why I have a quick release is because, I'll grab this over here. Other things like my Steadicam and stuff all have the same quick releases, so I can quickly just go from, you know, Steadicam to tripod to other tripods and all that kind of stuff, and use one single plate. It's so nice just to have a single plate rather than having to change it each and every time, because that really does suck. So with that, let's go have a look at the design that I sort of made up really fast. Rightio, so we've jumped over to the PC, and what I've done is quickly just whipped up a quick little SketchUp. It's not really the greatest at all, mainly because I'd spent like, I think 10 minutes making it. So this is kind of the a basic idea of it. I know there's like things all over the place that aren't meeting up, like this top little doodad thing here, that's obviously not lining up. I can definitely do a lot better in SketchUp, but I just wanted a quick rough idea so that when I started building this thing, I actually could sort of look back at something and go, you know, what the hell am I building? So basically this little strip right here along the bottom, actually it's a fairly large thing, will run most of the way of the actual teleprompter, and this will be the piece that actually mounts to the tripod. Then we have two of these thicker doodads over here that will allow us to connect up what I've sort of like a platform thing to the actual where the camera will sit. So I'll mount that quick release plate that we just looked at before to this section right here. And the reason why I've sort of sat it on a riser for a few reasons. Number one, that will allow me to rise it up from that lower piece, but also I can then get my finger in there and actually tie down whatever camera I actually mount to it, rather than being limited to right here. Now that's the plan at the moment. I might just get sick of cutting these little things and just make this bottom plate basically the single plate that I was going to make, but the camera should mount around here. And I guess also to a second benefit is I'll use screws on these little joiner bits here, so I guess if I get a different size camera in the future, I could always just cut new joiners, lower or raise the actual platform, and that will be also too good there. So basically this is the front, this is where the glass piece will be, and then the laptop that we looked at before will sit under here. Now we'll get to the laptop in just a moment and what we actually need to do with it. But then we just got some pieces of dowel holding up the glass plate on a 45-degree angle, and they've also too got this little section right here, this little frame stuff. So this frame will have a fabric material on it to stop the light hitting the back of this guy. So I didn't actually draw in the fabric because I wanted to be able to see fully what was going on with the teleprompter, but basically, yeah, I'll just wrap this section in some sort of material stuff, probably a black material, to keep any light reflections rather to a minimum. And that's kind of it. It's a super simple design. Basically going to use screws all the way through, unlike last time where I used nails and glue. Basically that will allow me to replace anything that does break. So if something like one of these pieces of dowel that I'll make these out of that does break, I can just simply unscrew it and then pop in a new piece and the whole teleprompter isn't broken. So hopefully a very modular and easy to upgrade and easy to repair design, and let's just hope it actually works. So with that being said, I think we'll go down to the hardware store and actually pick up all the wood and stuff that we actually need to go ahead and build this. So we've gotten just about everything we do need. The only thing that I didn't get was a picture frame, which I will definitely have to pick up from somewhere else. Thankfully though, we are in an industrial precinct, so I'm sure there'll be some office supply discount store thing to pick up a picture frame. But luckily the boot's not hanging open like last time we went to the shops and we bought a table that was too big for even a very long station wagon. So we'll go ahead and pick up a picture frame and jump back to the studio. Right, so I've gone ahead and got just about everything I need. The microphone is too high, I can't hold the camera any higher because the windscreen of the car's anyway. In fact, we'll just hold it over here. So I got myself a nice massive A3 certificate sized frame, which is, I guess, what I wanted. I wanted something that was at least 15 inches because, well, the laptop's 15 inch and I think A3 is bigger than 15 inch. I didn't Google it, but it should work. The framing is a little bit thin. It's very much like the XPS 15 where there is no bezel, so hopefully it will be able to mount everything to it without it breaking, and I hope this frame is actually is wood. It feels like metal, but for $4 I don't think it is metal, so time to sit on the garage floor for like 2 hours and put this thing together, I guess. Right, so the stuff that we picked up included this Tarzan grip tape for a bit of taping things up. I also picked up some hinges for small items. Now this came in a pack ready to go. Then we also grabbed ourselves a 1/4-inch pack of screws, as that's what cameras do use, mounting things up. I also had a spare quick release plate and also to mount, so I could go ahead and mount things up. A roll of masking tape in case we do need to mask things off and mark things up. We also grabbed some general cutting and screwing supplies, so the screwdriver set and saw is needed here. I also grab my drill. Unfortunately, I only have this impact drill, which is not really the greatest. A cordless drill would have been better, but at the end of the day, this is all I had. Then finally, some measuring and marking tools is definitely needed for a project like this. Our A3 frame to go ahead and mount as the glass. A 900 by 600 millimeter MDF board. I only used one, but I did pick up two. A 96 by 19 millimeter plank of wood, or a 4x3 would do just fine at this rate anyway. And 12 by 12 by 1.2 meter dowel rods to finish things out. Rightio, so I've gone ahead and actually cut out the first bit. I kind of just guesstimated. As we can see here, look at that. Almost perfect cut. It would have been nicer to be a little bit wider, but hey, it fits up with our picture frame and actually looks not bad. Rightio, I think it's about update time for what we got going on here as I just bend down a little bit. So obviously, as like all our chopping videos we do, we've got the little Dell Optiplex, I think it's Optiplex PC down there. Basically what I've done so far is I've cut out this base section. I got super lucky. I totally forgot to actually measure up the picture frame, which is going to be the glass portion, with the actual base. I just assumed I was going to cut it for the laptop, but luckily that is all good. As you can see, I did leave a little bit extra room here and there, but we've started to mock up the final design. So under here we got that plank of wood that is going to be sort of running underneath and connecting everything up. So we'll basically screw this plate or this piece here down, so that will be nice and secure. I've gone ahead and also positioned where I want the camera to actually sit, and then I've got a bit of room back here. Now I'm thinking of extending it an extra 50 or so mil, just to give myself a little bit of extra wiggle room with this actual setup. But this is sort of it. I just still have to build up that platform to go ahead and allow me to sit the camera on there, but this is sort of the basic of this teleprompter. So we're going to mount up the 45-degree piece there. We're going to build our little up and over bits. I may unfortunately have to cut another piece, a slightly bigger piece, because I think we're going to be pushing it in terms of room. But we'll see how it goes here, and whether or not we do need to cut another piece. We'll mount everything up, and I think it's coming along really well. I don't know what else to say, other than we'll probably add some weights to this end, because once we add the PC, the glass, everything on this end, it's going to be a little bit front heavy. So I might dig around the garage for some old bits of metal and scrap stuff that we can just sort of put in a nice little wooden box, paint up, and then stick it on the back for a bit of counterbalance. Not necessarily needed, but just looking at the tripod, it's a little bit on the flimsy side. So we'll mount that up and go on from there, and it's actually coming along really, really well. I'm super happy so far. Right, so I've gone ahead and mounted up the top plate to the bottom plate, and it actually has gone really well. All the screws are sitting nice and flush, so they won't damage whatever devices put it on the top of this guy. So now I think we need to tackle the elevated plate here and probably look into how to mount up the picture frame. It's still sitting there. I'm yet to actually take it out of its wrapper. I still don't know whether it's going to mount properly, but I'm super happy with how this is mounted. Only a couple of the screws that I drilled actually went through the back, and everything's super solid. Like, this thing's not going anywhere. Even the other DIY teleprompters I built, even at this stage, were feeling pretty flimsy. So this thing is solid, and I'm really happy with it so far. Update time once again. So I've gone ahead and made up my little top plate. Now you may notice it's actually mounted off center, and that's just because I still need access to this little rotatey doohickey to actually lock in and unlock the camera. Now you may have noticed at the bottom these screws stick out quite a lot. That's mainly because I actually thought there would be more room that I needed to fill, but turns out I didn't. So I've just organized to grab some thinner ones that actually meet the measurements that I need. But for now, that'll do. This thing is rock solid and it's not going anywhere. So as I was saying, all we need to do now is build our little platform up so it actually sits properly. But before we do that, we need to mount up the frame. Now luckily the frame is plastic, so that'll be easy to drill through and mount up. Get that all mounted up, measure the heights, and we're almost done, I think. Here's a bit of a pro tip for you guys. If you actually need to mark something that's black and you only have a black marker, the best thing to do is just grab some masking tape, whack it on there, then you can draw your black marks with your black marker and drill through the tape and then peel it off when you're done. It's really actually cool and super handy. So I've just marked up roughly where the hinges are going to go, drill through it, and it should be fine. Rightio, so we've got the top bit, I'll just zoom out here, attached to our top bit of the teleprompter. Now you may notice these screws, which is what I first showed you guys, is a little bit long, so we'll just get our angle grinder, actually probably a Dremel, and just knock them off. As well check in with what's going on right as someone starts whippersnipping, which is bloody jar. Anyway, so I've gone ahead and gotten most of the frame together. We've gotten these little extension things that the fabric will attach to, so it'll go like that. And if we just come around here, we can see we've got ourselves a very nice secure connection. This thing is rock solid at this point in time. So I'm going to go ahead and just, I guess, trim these sections off here, trim that, and also to trim the bolts on this side. But it's coming along really well. We're almost done. I think the next update will be chucking the fabric on once I do put it together. Unfortunately, I do have to glue this side here, so basically, where is our focus gone? There we go, so we can sort of see this bit here. There's no way to actually get a screw in there, so we're just going to have to go ahead and actually glue that on. Not my favorite thing to do, but at least the rest of it's held together with screws. Okay, so at this point we're back in the studio. Things are a little messy at this point, and honestly, well, yeah, things are quite all over the place. Now, at the moment, I do have the teleprompter set up as I do stumble on my words, and it has been an extremely long day. We started this project at 11, it is now 7 PM, and it has taken a very long time. So the actual setup that we have going on here at the moment is quite different from the original idea, and I will walk you through it first. First and foremost, the piece of material on top of this guy, actually I cut it a little bit on the small side, so I'm just gonna have to cut off another bigger piece a bit. And also too, you may notice this piece of material thing on the top of it, just temporarily here. That is mainly because, well, the actual fabric is too light and it lets too much light actually in and bounces off the back of the teleprompter, and, well, you guys will see a slight reflection. It doesn't make too much of a difference, but it is noticeable enough in especially the editor when I was doing some tests that I did go ahead and, well, put that on top, and most of the problems were solved. Now, the picture frame that I did pick up was a massive $4, and there is a slight issue with the pane of glass. There's two sort of points along here that kind of create this weird separation in not only the words but also to the image that you guys can see. So in the editor, when I'm editing this video, if I punch in 200%, rather than it being tack sharp like it normally is, it's ever so slightly off, which is to be expected when putting a piece of glass in front of the lens. You know, you're going to lose some quality there, but it is also to a little bit of a problem. I'll try and get a screen grab of what it looks like, but it's just sort of like a shift, just ever so slightly. In a shot like this, when you're not punching in and pixel peeping and that kind of stuff, it looks perfectly fine, but I'll pick up a couple more of those picture frames, seeing they were only $4, and try out some different ones. Whether it's the entire batch that has the problem or it's this particular one, I'm not exactly sure, but I'll pick up another one. Either way, I'll have some nice frames to put some certificates up on the wall, because I really need to do that for the past 2 years, but I never got around to it. But nevertheless, I will definitely be replacing this particular piece of glass to hopefully not only make it so the words are easier to read for me, because this sort of, every time I move my head up and down, I can see all the words changing. I'll try and get a shot of it for you guys, but it's a little bit of a problem there. On top of that, also too, you may have noticed the actual design of the teleprompter has changed ever so slightly. So this bottom piece along here has now been put sideways rather than backwards and forth on the tripod, mainly because the tripod was a little bit too weak to actually hold it. Whilst everything could mount on it, it started to wobble. So when I move my hands around here, the wobble just like traveled through the floor and ever so slightly created a jitter in the camera. Now, whilst it wasn't massive movements and stuff like that, it still was enough that it was ever so slightly noticeable and was a bit off-putting. It was very hard to put your finger on if you weren't specifically looking for it or didn't necessarily know about it. But it was very sort of hard to cancel out in post and do that kind of stuff. So I've now mounted it to the desk. I've set the tripod up behind the actual teleprompter like it always has been, so hopefully it should be fine here. Then finally, the PC has been kind of ripped apart just a little bit. So unfortunately, this particular laptop doesn't fold more than about 80 some degrees or something like that. I don't know how much it is. It doesn't go full 180 basically. So basically I took off the top monitor and lay it down flat on the teleprompter and have the keyboard base just out of shot here. It works really well. I have my keyboard and mouse and that kind of stuff here, so that does work really great. However, I'm gonna probably look into getting a cheapo monitor just to stick in there, because I would really like it if I could just hook up any computer to the teleprompter and run it. And also too, I would like a bit more flexibility than what the built-in cables would allow, because at the moment we're kind of limited by the the Wi-Fi antenna wires, and also to the display cable. So gonna have to look into replacing the actual laptop screen with an actual monitor, but overall it works really well. And then off to my right, and I'll show you guys in a moment, I also do just have a field monitor that is also connected to the laptop, so when things are up on the screen all inverted, I can still control the laptop without too many issues. Overall though, that has been the DIY Teleprompter Mark II project. I'm definitely gonna have to do some updates and changes here and there. Obviously I'm going to be swapping out this piece of glass to hopefully improve the image quality. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, because we're not buying proper beam splitter glass, we're going to be losing some sharpness and some image quality. Definitely at the end of the day, it's not too bad, but I would personally like to have the same quality I had before I actually put the teleprompter up. Again, you don't notice it too much by actually just, well, looking through the screen, but it is slightly noticeable if you do punch in at 200% in Premiere looking at the raw files. You can notice a slight difference, so it's a little bit saddening for me seeing that we have such a nice camera to use, and I would definitely like to go ahead and update that. I will be looking into, however, getting some better quality glass than just picture frame glass, so I'll be looking at a glass store I think I know of, but I do know that beam splitter glass is expensive, and the size that we do need will be relatively very expensive for that matter, so maybe it would just be worth investing in a whole teleprompter system that actually has a monitor built in and isn't basically going to fall off the table if something does bump it. But, well, with that being said, that's about it for this video. I don't actually know how long this video is going to go for because I shot things all day across multiple memory cards, so I've kind of lost track on how long it's gone for. But with that being said, if you've watched to the end, let me know down in that comment sections what you want to let me know about, because it's sort of not really a tech topic. I can't exactly ask a whole lot of things, but it was a cool little project to go ahead and do. Definitely a few rough edges just looking at it right now that could definitely be cleaned up quite a bit, but overall that is good enough for doing some words on the screens, and it just is so much better. Even just looking right here, I've got one sentence on the screen now just to figure out what was going on, and honestly it's really good. I can look at the camera and read off specs and also to words and stuff like that that I may want to put in a video. So I'm super excited. I hope you guys are excited. Otherwise, again, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.